So last time we had just started the kind of passionate questioning Savitri's mother was making with Narad. It is perfectly understandable that she should be deeply hurt with life. She has been doled out something which is too heavy for a mortal to bear, and she is going to question every kind of step which is being taken in this creation, whether it is by God, by somebody, or somebody is immaterial for her. And she is, as I said last time, asking Narad, the seer. So she is expecting an answer from the seer, not from a philosopher, not from a scientist, not from a metaphysician, not for a rational mind being like that. She is expecting an answer from a seer. In other words, as far as she is concerned, she has no issue about the rational mind. She doesn't care about that. Why this, that is, it is. Although she might put like that, she is not haunted, perturbed by the worries or by the processes of the rational mind. She wants to know the true truth behind the whole process. What is it there actually which is causing all the difficulties? She wants to know the occult meaning, occult depth of this creation's problem. And it is that she is kind of asking Narad to tell her. And she is formulating the question in the manner of a thinker, logician. Systematically, she is arguing every aspect of it. Not only she is organizing her thought and putting the question, she is in the process tracing the entire history of this creation. This is what has happened, this is what has happened, this is what happened all along in this world. Not history in terms of this normal history we talk of, but the occult aspects of the history through which the whole process is going, through which time is moving. It is the history of time that is what she is talking, not the history of events. Not the history of event, but history of time. That is what she is basically asking there. And of course, the right person to answer is the seer for that kind of a thing, you see. Seer, history of time, because Narad has a vision of all the three divisions of time. He knows the past, he knows the present, he knows the future. He has the Trikala Drishti, and therefore it is a time vision which he can reveal to the human soul. A human soul which is ready to receive that knowledge. In other words, we could as well say that itself speaks very highly about the spiritual status of the queen, of Savitri's mother. She is asking something of a very occult kind, of a very deep kind, of the history of time, and unless there is something within you like that, you won't ask that kind of a question, you see. So, first thing she is asking, of course, she is starting about this tri-natured life. That has been her opening argument. Why this strange earth? Why there is that conflicting situation of death and life, of falsehood and truth, of pain and joy? Why? So, where from this has happened? Now, error and truth, virtue and sin. All these things are there, although they may look to a certain extent ethical questions, religious questions, but they are not purely ethical or purely religious questions also. Why evil and good? It is not an ethical question she is asking. She is asking the very foundation of things on which everything is happening here around. And then of course we saw necessity, chance, free will, those questions she was asking about that thing. Or she is saying if it is not this, if it's not this, if not this, then was there a disastrous power that intervened and gave rise to this tri-natured nature life here? This duality of evil and good, is it because of some disastrous power? Everything was meant to be good, but then something is intervened, some disastrous power. How it managed to intervene, that is another issue. But it has managed, and therefore it has given rise to this conflicting situation. And then, of course, she says, a fatal seed was sown in life's false start. That is how the duality arose of evil and good and all that. And then, as a result of that fatal seed, of that false start, what has happened is, the first thing which has happened is, appeared the melody of mind, the questioning mind, the doubting mind, the analytical mind, trying to understand things only in segments, in measures, not in the totality of it. That is the melody of mind. It cannot comprehend the totality. It will try to cut into bits whatever knowledge is given and try to understand bit by bit. And that is the analytical method of the mind. Wherefrom it has arisen. Pang of thought is quest for the aim of life. It stands for of mind. Mind is definitely a quester, is in search of knowledge and truth and all that thing, but its method is fragmentation. Its method is fragmentation, analytical, cutting up into bits like that. And then, as a result of that mind, it is when the mental being arrived on the evolutionary scene, when the mental being arrived on the evolutionary scene, then came into existence good and ill. In the pure world of life, that conflict does not arise. That conflict arises only with the arrival of mind, good and ill. As I told you, life by itself has no problem at all. It lives happily, you see. Life lives on life and it progresses on that basis. Life lives on life. A small creature is swallowed by a bigger creature, and that is how life lives also. You start with a plankton and then build up all the way the entire hierarchy of the life world, you see. It builds upon that thing, you see. And what is sort of swallowed by life, that itself, in a certain sense, feels happy that it is becoming a part of a larger life. What is small is becoming a part of a larger life. A deer is eaten by a lion. The lion is, suppose, a greater life than a deer, and the deer feels happy that it has become a part of a greater vital force, like that, you see. So life lives on life. The Upanishadic phrase is, eater eating is eaten. Eater eating is eaten. We are eater, we are eating, he himself is then eaten. A small person who is eating, he himself is getting eaten also. Eater eating is eaten. And that is how the life builds up, you see. Yeah. And and that is what, in fact, there is a big chapter on that in the life divine. In the life divine, there is a big chapter on that. Eater, eating is eaten. You see? Yeah. Life divine is there. Yeah. Yeah. That is the law of life. That is the way of the progress of life. So, good and evil come with mind, not for that, you see. Follow the zigzag of the uncertain course of life that wanders seeking for its aim. In other words, first came mind, then it divided life into good and ill, and then life followed the zigzag of the uncertain course of mind, because mind is not sure of that. And life that wanders seeking for its aim. Mind is the guide, is the lamp for life to move into darkness. And therefore, life that wanders seeking for the same in the pale starlight falling from the thoughts skies. So, with the help of mind, thought, life tries to make progress, you see. It guides the unsure idea, the wavering will. Lost body. Now, as a result of that thing, what happened? When life accepted the guidance of mind, she cannot but accept that. When mind entered into the picture, life was led by mind, and then as a result of that, the native instinct of life was lost. Lost for the instinct's safe identity. Life lost its own native instinct. What does that mean? See, it's like saying this one. You have got grass, and there are all kinds of grasses there. Now, a cow, when it is grazing, it will avoid certain grasses because it knows that they are poisonous. The poison grass, it will avoid eating those things. Now, where from that knowledge has come? It is native instinct. It is the life instinct to avoid this or avoid that thing. That knowledge is not analytical mind which is given to the cow and all that. It is the native instinct of life itself which will avoid. No, this is not good for my system. Let me avoid this, like that. It goes on. So, and therefore, life lost for the instinct safe identity with the arrow point of being's inmost side, marred the sure steps of nature's simple walk. So nature was moving slowly, gradually in its own harmony and all that thing in the absence of mind. But mind came and then all the conflicts began. You started rationalizing, you are starting arguing, this is why like that, why that is like this, etc. etc. All those things are happening here. And truth and freedom in the growing soul. Out of some ageless innocence and peace, life was somewhere else without demanding of time, ageless. And it was the privilege of souls not betrayed to birth. They have not taken the birth. They were happy there, innocent, joyous, happy, very peaceful, quiet. But then they decided to plunge into this dangerous earth for whatever reason be. And our life was born in the pain and the cry. In other words, she is asking the question, all right, my soul up there in the heavens is always blissful and quiet and happy and peaceful and all that thing. There are no conflicts, there is no question of ill and good and all that kind of a thing. It was happy there, but somehow it decided to take the birth. Privilege of souls not yet betrayed to birth. That was the peace of the birth, you see. Cast down to suffer on this hard, dangerous earth. It volunteered to come to this dangerous earth. And in that process, what happened? That soul is now suffering, suffering with pain and cry. So the first thing which has happened here, the soul which is happy there, when it has plunged down into this one, the first thing which has happened is that the birth of pain. After pain, then came joy. First was born pain, then joy. Caste life was born in pain and with a cry. Although earth nature welcomes heaven's breath, yes, that greater life, that nobler life, that happier life, ageless life is most welcome by earth. And she wants that life to be here. For what? To inspire matter with a will to live. Matter which is lifeless, to make it living. It is for that purpose she called down the life force. She called down the life force. And with that, what happened? The moment life entered into matter, 1,000 ills assailed the mortal's hour. Suddenly, 1,000 ills had taken me and wear away the natural joy of life. So the natural joy of life which was there, that has disappeared because of that. And our bodies are an engine cunningly made. So this is what has happened to life when life entered. Actually, there is a very beautiful description in Canto 3 of the second book, The Glory and Fall of Life. The Glory and Fall of Life. To begin with, there was no life and only there were material objects on the earth, only matter. This solid mass, which broke no throb of sense, means no life, could not contain their vast creative urge. Even in matter, there was an urge, a kind of an aspiration to grow. For what? Immersed no more in matter's harmony, the spirit lost its statuous repose. And then, in the uncaring trance, it groped for sight. Matter itself is groping for sight. Passion for the movements of a conscious heart, famishing for speech and thought and joy and love. In the dumb, insensitive, willing day and night, hungered for the beat of yearning and response. That is the aspiration of matter. Matter is aspiring for that, you see. And then what happens? A voice was heard on the mute rolling globe 13. 136:13. A voice was heard on the mute rolling globe in immaterial world. A murmur moved in the listening void. A being seemed to breathe where once was none. Means the whole thing was a void. Life was not there, but there appeared a kind of a being there in void. Something pent up in dead insentient depths, denied conscious existence, lost to joy, turned as if one asleep since dateless time. So matter was lying asleep all along for dateless time, since the beginning it means. Aware of its own buried reality, yet it is aware that there is something deeply buried in it, reality. Remembering its forgotten self and right, it yearned to know, to aspire, to enjoy, to live. So that is the basic aspiration in matter itself present. And then that is aspiration from matter. And then what happened? Life heard a call and left her native light. So that is the response life has met. She heard a call from material objects and she responded to that call. Overflowing from her bright, magnificent plane on the rigid coil and sprawl of mortal spain. Here too, the gracious, great winged angel poured. So she is an angel. She's coming down here and she's pouring all her joy, beauty, love, happiness all around you see. That is how she comes here. Hoping for what? Hoping to fill a fair new world with joy, which was not there in matter. She was expecting that everything will become joyous. And then further down, alive and clad with trees and herbs and flowers, Earth's great brown body smiled toward the skies. So what was lifeless, it has suddenly become full of trees, life, aspiring for that thing. Earth's great brown body smiled toward the sky. Azure replied to azure in the sea's love. New sentient creatures filled the unseen depth, life's glory and swiftness, and in the beauty of beasts, yeah, even the animals, there is a kind of glory and swiftness in that place. Man dared and thought and met with his soul the world. It came all the way up to man, that life is him. But so she comes in response to the call from below, from matter. But what happens then? But while the magic breath was on its way, while she's coming down on its way, before the gifts could reach our present hearts, a dark, ambiguous presence questioned all. There is something which arose from below and challenged life. Who are you to enter into this material world? Who are you? She is challenged by a dark, ambiguous presence. In other words, the entry of life into matter meets the response from below in the form of death. Death is a dark, ambiguous presence. Death appears at that point. There is no death before the appearance of life. When life enters into matter, suddenly something arises from below and challenges life, and it is the challenge of life, challenge of death, which life has to meet now. You see.